Then for investment point of view, I once said this before and I think I will stick to it, right? I don't encourage Singaporean to buy properties here for investment, man, because of the nature of the exit strategy. We have spoke about like the currency issue. Like if I were to bet Sing dollar higher or Ringgit higher in the next 10 years, right, I will bet Sing dollar also.
Oh, thank you. Much ironic, right?
Yeah.
But yeah. Maybe before we begin, you can just share a little bit about yourself. Who are you? What do you do for our audience?
So hi, my name is Sean. I run a YouTube channel called iHerng. The channel revolves around property topics, especially Malaysian one. Until this year, I start venturing into UK segment. Yeah, I start making some friends in Singapore. Then we start comparing, right? Then I realized Malaysia's property is very beautiful in terms of legislation as well. So that opens up a lot of new audiences. That's why for the past month, I've been in Singapore 3 times already. So
More
like
times than me.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Nice to meet you. Okay, finally we meet, right? We've been talking about,
Yeah,
hey,
very
get this
long.
guy on, he's been talking about Malaysia property. And we wanted to get you on because of Malaysia property, right? I think a lot of Singaporeans are considering Malaysia property for a myriad of reasons. Singapore very intense.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, okay, enough, right? I've worked hard enough. Now I want to go somewhere else. And then they will explore along the lines of like Bangkok, Malaysia, Vietnam, a few places. They want to stay in the region, but just not Singapore. There's a bunch like that. And then, of course, there's another bunch of people that are being served ads by a lot of people in the Malaysia realtor space.
Yeah.
So that's why I want to kind of understand a little bit, right?
Cool.
So give us a quick overview or high-level overview of like the Malaysian property market. For people like us, right, Singaporean, don't really know much about the Malaysia property space. What are the things that I need to know?
Based on my information and observation, I think a lot of Singaporeans will think Malaysia is Johor. So when Johor is bad, Malaysia teruk, cannot go. Then you say Malaysia infrastructure cannot, Malaysia hospital cannot because the one in Puteri Harbour cannot.
I get it.
Yeah, right?
But just saying, I think a lot of Singaporeans know Johor better than Malaysian.
Yeah.
Legit. So yeah, shout out to you Singaporeans.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because KL folks then will not go to JB.
Yeah.
Because like 10 more minutes I go Singapore.
Yeah, it's true. It's like foreign land anyway.
Yeah. So that's a misconception, the first of all. And because Malaysia very big compared to Singapore, and every land matter is a state matter. So when you are in Johor, you are in Malacca, Negeri Sembilan, Selangor, Penang, you kind of have slight difference in land law a little bit. And the apparent one when you see East Malaysia and West Malaysia, totally different legislation. And that affects the market. But to me, in comparison, I think KL would be a closer one to Singapore, where it's the capital city lah. So I always say this in the channel, every graduate in Malaysia will all want to work in KL.
Really?
Yeah.
You all want to work in KL?
We are in KL.
Yes, we're here, right? Yeah.
So because this is where all the job opportunities are. There's a lot of like tiers of towns, and this is where the narration then becomes a very mixed one. When you say it's good, yes, it's good. If you say it's bad, it's also true because it depends on where you are talking.
Okay, so if we anchor down to KL first.
Yep.
Because I think Singaporeans at this point in time, generally, it's either Johor, KL, or maybe like Penang. The very Chinese people will go Penang.
Yep.
Right, so that is kind of the landscape so far.
Yep.
So when we think of KL property, what do we think about?
To me, in my world, in my realm, it's excellent because like in this oversupply condition, there's a lot of opportunities where developers are trying to clear stock. If you are from external, you will look at, Malaysia oversupply, like man, there's a lot of overhang properties.
It's true. The renter cannot even hold.
Yeah.
Right? Like you pay 1,500 this year, you sign a contract 2 years. Within the 2 years, there are 2 developments next to it.
Yeah.
Plop. Next time,
Yeah.
you can jump or you can go and negotiate with the landlord. The landlord got nothing to negotiate with you.
Yep. So that's one story. The other one is where we have rental increasing as well. Right. So again, because of the topography we have, just in KL, in Klang Valley alone, right? If you're talking about Mont Kiara, the dynamics is so unfriendly to foreigners, especially in terms of research. Like because every street, right, in Mont Kiara alone will have different dynamics. And like Jalan Mont Kiara 1 versus Mont Kiara 2 is like a 80 to 100 ringgit per square feet difference.
Wow.
And like when we think about Jalan Mont Kiara to Sekambut, literally is the same street. It's like 300 ringgit cheaper. So because of that, then it becomes very confusing, especially for foreigners to come and invest.
It's true. It's true.
So another problem to that is our formal, legit government statistics department. The latest transaction history that we can get is like from 2022, Q2. So now you tell us, oh, Q2 last year we did well. So,
Okay.
so
Slow.
yeah. So that's why when people want to come into this market, right, it's a very mixed thing. And it solely depends on the intent that the person is bidding you for.
Okay, fair. So if let's say I already have one property in Singapore, okay, and I think it also got difference, right?
Yeah.
HDB is one thing,
Yeah.
condo is another thing. So we go one by one. Okay, let's say I already have a HDB in Singapore, which I think a lot of Singaporeans by the mid-30s, they should kind of have it already, right? So they have one property in Singapore, HDB, and then they look to maybe getting an investment property, right? Because people come in for different reasons. Some people want to buy a retirement home. Some people want to buy an investment property, right? So let's say they look for investment property in KL. What do they need to look out for? Which area or what is interesting?
So before we talk about areas, right, there will be like formal setting of eligibility. Officially cannot, right? If HDB is watching, cannot.
Okay. Okay. No, I say I never say anything.
Because there's a mix. So when we do profiling, like now I've been into Singapore so often, are you a pure Singaporean or you a convert, which is like a PR?
Most of our audience are Singaporeans.
Okay, so if homegrown Singaporeans, if you are a HDB owner, you cannot. But if you have upgraded from HDB already, then you like on private or ECs or whatsoever, then you can, but it's then fall into the minimum price of property within Malaysia. So every state then you have different amount. Johor, I think they adjusted to 700,000. Then in KL is 1 million minimum. In Selangor then is 2 million.
Wait, in KL is 1 million. That means the heart, right? Because KL is like the middle area.
Yeah.
But Selangor outside of KL is 2 million.
Yes. So I've thought about it and it's to protect the local folks. Because it's a bit more residential, it's a bit more taman-taman, right? All the neighborhood stuff. So that's why if every foreigner can buy, gone case, all the property all gonna
scooped up, yeah.
Yeah. So we spoke about Setia Alam because I have a property there, right? And eyeing around their latest launch of semi-Ds. On intermediate lots, it's 1.8 million. Corner lots is 2.2 million. So first month, right? All corner lots got scooped up first.
Foreigner.
80% Singaporeans.
Oh, okay.
And because that's the limit, so it now becomes, right, if I were to buy as an investment, I will buy above 2 million because there's a new segment of audience that I can target to. Anything below 2 million, right? Oh, you lose out these foreign buyers.
Okay.
Then if you are in KL, then like if you are familiar with Bukit Jalil and Puchong, same street, one is KL, one is Selangor.
Yeah.
So one side is 1 million, one side is 2. So if you were to buy for investment, if you have such cases, then we'll go for the one that is a little bit more international friendly. Like Monkera international friendly. 1 million you can buy it. And 1 million in a property of this area, right? Close eye, an 800 square feet property is 1 million already. Yeah.
It's not cheap at all. Right?
This
is the heart of the place.
Yeah.
But foreigner can own landed property.
Landed, then there are different segments to it. If it's an individual title, so it's divided into individual title and strata fight format. So strata law, I think a lot of people will understand as a high-rise governing law.
Yeah.
So in Malaysia, we kind of turn this into a landed format.
Oh, okay.
So imagine
so
like
the whole piece, you cut, this whole thing is a strata title.
Yeah. So this entire neighborhood of 180 homes is a plot of strata. Then there will be common areas, there will be accessory parcels, there will be main parcels. Then these foreigners can buy.
Okay.
For individual title, cannot buy.
Oh. So from a buying, selling experience, how would it be different?
Pretty much the same.
It's the same. Okay.
And it's a little bit more friendly to Singaporeans compared to Australians or other foreigners, right? Malaysian banking system is very accepting for the Singaporeans, income statements, CPF, everything. So you'll get loan just like a local. Rates are also very comparable.
How would that look like?
So like how now much our interest rate is like, so that's based on your income.
Yeah, of course.
But everything, right? Like if you earn 5,000 Sing, right, you're a top 20% in Malaysia already. So loan is not an issue. But the interest rate, like we get 3.94%, you get maybe 4.1. Percentage-wise, some also you get 90% loan for every purchase you buy on residential. Then for investment point of view, I once said this before and I think I will stick to it, right? I don't encourage Singaporean to buy properties here for investment, man, because of the nature of the exit strategy. We have spoke about like the currency issue. Like if I were to bet Sing dollar higher or ringgit higher in the next 10 years, right, I would bet Sing dollar also.
Oh, thank you. Much ironic, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
So that's the main exit strategy. Like even if you earn like 50% in the next 10 years, right, you convert back, it's nothing. Then there's all the effort of maintaining, dealing with agents, dealing with local flares, every time quarter, right? Is it worth all the effort for the return to divide by 3.6 or 4 in the future, right? The answer is no. Unless then this comes in the discussion of channel of buying. In Malaysia, we have 4 main channels of buying properties. We have the first one that's called new properties, where you buy directly from developer. The second one will be the sub-sale market, the open market. Third one will be auction market. Fourth will be bulk purchasing, which is this underground market.
We go to the auction. That one is the lelong one, is it?
Lelong.
Okay, so that means the bank took back and then now trying to just dispose it off to whoever that is willing to pick it up.
Yes.
I think the first two quite easy to understand. New launch, developer discount. I can assume for our listeners it's the same as their experience in Singapore, right? There'll be the discount when you buy, blah, 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 all those things. It's quite standard. Or is it very different here?
Similar, but then there will be this extra discount if you are somebody.
Oh,
if you are
Siti Nurhaliza, you get discount, is it?
Yeah,
okay. Thank you. Shout out to you.
Then if you are like Tan Sri and this is something also after having some Singaporean friends, right? We have a status difference in Malaysia. Tan Sri, Dato Sri, Dato whoever, right? So if you are Dato's son or you are Tan Sri's nephew or whoever, you also can ask for discount. If you are a YouTuber like me, I will get different price compared to any normal person.
Serious? Oh, serious?
Yeah, so but because of that, then on paper, in your sales and purchase agreement, it looks the same one. But all this underground, all this behind the scene, all it will come in later. So if we are all competing for profits, right, I'm in a different line compared to you.
Okay.
So the unfortunate truth is if you are buying on retail property, right, you are buying at retail price. You cannot get warehouse price, you cannot get bulk purchase price. Then the open one is up to negotiation. I think it's very similar.
What's the transaction like?
If you are buying sub-sale, then the upfront payments required, I calculate tably is around 17 to 18%. Where 10% it's your down payment, then you have the miscellaneous, like lawyer fee, agent fee, bank valuation fee, and whatever. So a lot of people get caught, just like my first property when I buy, I thought 10% only. Then when lawyers keep sending me letter, right? Then the problem then in Malaysia is the length of the process. So like a transaction of a sub-sale takes around 6 to 8 months on a good one.
6 to 8 months. That means from the time of listing,
signing.
So it's signing. It's not even the listing process. So after I sign,
it takes around 6 months.
Then what happens?
So within that 6 months, then there will be all the transfer of ownership, names and all. Then until 6 months later, you get your keys. Then only officially it's yours. So if it's a freehold property, it's faster. If it's a leasehold property, sometimes it can get stuck because a leasehold property in Malaysia requires consent from the state government.
Oh.
Because sometimes if it's a bumi or if it's for Malay Reserve.
But foreigners cannot buy bumi property, right? That's a given one.
But if it's leasehold, then like they will just check. So it's like a process.
Okay.
So that's one of the earlier obstacle for leasehold property, why people don't like it. But sooner or later now, all leftovers are leasehold lands.
Okay, fair. So one thing that in Singapore, there is this thing called fixtures and furniture. Because if you buy direct from the developer, so be it lah. What you see is what you get, right? It's the complicated part is the open market. Yeah. Because the person already do all the pattern inside. Then you go in, you visit, say, I like this, then I buy. And now come at all gosong already. Everything goes on, right? So, so I need to know, like, is there a difference? Like, is there some sort of legal regulation around like fixtures? And furnitures, like fixture cannot move, furniture.
Ours is case by case.
So you must essentially, when I come in and negotiate, no law is protecting me. I need to negotiate with whoever is selling me. I want this has to be written inside. Is that the idea?
Yes.
Okay.
So sometimes like there's a hole in the wall, and sometimes the owner buys it because of the hole for artistic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those are fixtures. Supposedly it cannot move one. Yeah.
Then when they sell, right, the previous owner did a good deed in just sitting back out, right? Then that becomes an issue. So there becomes a dispute there. So like sometimes we call it stock and barrel here. That's a local term here where everything you see is everything you can get. But just now when you say for new properties, right, what you see is what you get, right? Not true.
Showroom and the thing is different.
And there are some, like, I think after my existence, this has gone down way lesser already. But back then, right, show units that are made bigger, taller. So when you buy and when you get the keys, right, you won't go and measure your unit one.
Maybe you should.
That's why now people only start to get, there's this, because in our legal documents, there's this dispute clause where if the land area or the size that you get, right, is smaller or bigger than a tolerance level, you can sue.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
But who go and measure their unit? Every day go, oh, this one. So those are things that from a Singapore perspective, I think you need to take into account, because not all developers are that truthful. So like all public listed one, I think in JB all are like the standards is there. But there are a lot of private ones. Boutique ones.
Boutique, huh? Boutique.
So those are a little bit more ungoverned in some ways.
Okay, fair. So then what about the bulk discount that you were talking about?
So bulk discount comes when this particular project, for example, new project stuck in sales.
Okay. So it just couldn't sell for a long time.
Yeah.
You know?
So most likely it's due to the ambitious pricing. Then what to do with all this? Because the developer will need to pay the contractor for building it, right? So they need to clear some stocks. But if I were to clear in terms of discounts, the initial buyers will get really upset. When I buy from you 1,000 per square feet, now you sell outside 700. I smack you, right?
But is there a place that I can tell what they're clearing at?
So that's why it's called underground. Underground then is where like a lot of property investment clubs around.
Clubs, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's an investment club around where people pay membership to get access to. And suddenly like this investment club that I'm in, also I'm a client there, like they buy 100, 200 units at one go.
And then they let down who want to take the...
So at the price that they think it's reasonable. So this again is an added advantage if I'm on the other side. If you're a person who buy at retail, unfortunately, you just kena from behind lah.
Fair. Okay, fair. So then maybe we can talk a little bit about the different type of properties in terms of like the residential formats, right? Because I think when people are buying a home, it's quite clear cut lah, or relatively clear cut, right? You're buying just to stay.
Yeah.
But for the investment property side of things, right, is it different countries are different, right? Some places studios move very fast. Some you need like 2-bedder, 3-bedder. What's the situation here like?
So here is very location driven. Like we are now in Mont Kiara. So this is expat market.
Yes, atas one, very atas.
Yes. So now we are in a cafe just now, like you can see it feels like Korea and Japan, right?
Yes.
And this is where people will pay extraordinary amount of rent. That's why in this area, if you are in the right street and right property, right, like 3 bedrooms, 2-bedroom studios, apartments, right, do really well here because of the community here. So because they are foreigners, they cannot own. That's why they will pay very high rent.
Foreigners cannot own? You mean they don't want to own? Or?
It doesn't make sense because they got sent here for 1, 3 years, 5 years, right?
Fair.
5 years, I want to buy property.
Okay.
And they get a lot of allowance for renting, like all these companies.
Yeah, it's true. All the MNCs.
Yeah, because of that, then it creates this huge demand for space. But it doesn't make sense for them to own. That's why the rent results in a very high amount.
What is the kind of yield that we are looking at?
Easily 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay.
And because of our interest rate that is around 4, it makes a lot of sense. So when we think about properties in Mont Kiara, because Mont Kiara was around for like 18 years already. So it depends on which era of building and which street you are in. So if you're in the true blue Mont Kiara above 163 mall and all things like that, then it's very, very good. It's around 6-7% easily. But when you get the units, most standard ones in Malaysia, you get empty, bare furnished. Then you do whatever you want with the unit. Then some owners kiam siap. They don't want to do anything. And they expect very high rent.
Does not work. Foreigners come here, if they rent a place, they want a proper furnished one.
So this is something that the makeover guys is doing. So this is a company that we are attached to. So we do all this, and that allows the owners to fetch very high rent. And when you look into this and you look into a bare one, so in this market, then there are people paying for that. But if you are in locations where it's more domestic driven, these are not a requirement. These are good to have because people want to save money there, right? Then sometimes even bare units can go faster in those settings because these people have their own furniture, they will have their own. I want to sign lease 5 years, but you ask 2,000, I want 1,002. I rent for you 5 years. So it's a very different format. Then we have some that is a student accommodation base.
Those are the worst. Super expensive.
Yeah.
They charge the students like macam, my goodness, I cannot.
That's why the rent here in Malaysia, right? I don't know about Singapore, but here is derived based on the temporary demand of space. So temporary demand means like the students are sent there and the closest one they can get is the one next to the uni. Right? So they don't have mode of transportation and it's not as advanced here in KL. Not many choices. That's why these few buildings around the uni, right, will fetch tremendous high rent.
Crazy.
So that also explains the different formats of target audience for tenants in Malaysia.
It's true. One of my new hires, right? I hire an editor in Malaysia. He and two of his friends together are paying 3,500 per month.
Yeah.
You know, because they're renting near Taylor's, right, in Sunway. I was like, what the hell, right? It's like 3 times my rent, right? It's crazy.
So
it's
if you think
nuts.
about, that's why this is also something that Singaporeans audience would appreciate, right? 3,500, right? I can get a semi-D in PJ for rent, 3,500. So Malaysia, because of the dynamics, you can get a landed house, 3,500. You can get a studio apartment, 3,500.
Crazy.
Yeah, so around Monkera here, it's around 5,000 to 6,000 a studio apartment. Then as we were saying just now, right, they are uni-driven. And there's one more element that is tourism-driven.
So all the Airbnb one.
All the short-term
But I thought
stay one.
recently there was new law to come in to curb it.
Only in Penang so far, where they only limit to residential titled apartments. So apartments in Malaysia, there's residential titled ones and commercial titled
The
ones.
new law is cannot chop, right?
The new law is cannot chop.
Okay. Yeah.
So the new law is you cannot add partitions.
Yeah.
You cannot add partitions to the unit, but now they are actually challenging it because it doesn't make sense at all. And that
That's
is
a different discussion.
I think we can be here for 4 hours.
Yeah. It's okay. If you love the show, you love the episode, you share, you like, okay, then I will come back. Monkera, okay? Yeah.
So domestically, our tourism is very strong, and there are a lot of times where like market in Taiping, Ipoh, Kuantan, right? The short-term stay rates are amazing.
More expensive than the hotel.
Yes, right? Because you can squeeze 7 people.
Yeah.
Then another market is where Penang people, Ipoh people all travel to KL to shop in our shopping malls in KL. One day in Mid Valley, one day in Pavilion. So it's like a shopping holiday, then they go back.
Yeah.
Right. And these are the different modes of earning money via real estate in Malaysia. But it's very different from Singapore because you need to get to the next level wealth before you can get into landed house. Malaysia, like 500,000, you can get landed also. 300,000, arguably still can also. But the only difference will be the distance from your CBD. So then it depends on your mode of working. Do you need to be in KL all the time? Like yourself, you don't need to. Then you can stay far, peaceful, wonderful
quiet,
life.
Yes.
But for us, still need to work one, unfortunately.
Hey, don't draw a line. Okay? But I know what you're saying.
So like that gives Malaysia a lot of different variations.
Okay. Hey, welcome to the Financial Coconut Podcast Network. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut. And if you're loving what we're creating here, like, share, subscribe, share with your loved ones, comment in the comment section below. And we'll see you for great content on Chills with TFC. So I think we covered quite a bit on the buyer's journey, right?
Yep.
So the question is always, how do I then sell, right? Like the exit process, right? Can you kind of paint us some color when it comes to the exit?
If you are with the investment mindset, then it's a bit tricky because everybody wants market.
Exactly, right? That's why they invest, right? All the marketing, disturb us is all for investment, right? Yeah.
But because of the evergreen launches, right? Like you see, Malaysia has this beautiful thing. We have a lot of public holidays. We have a lot of property developers. So unofficial numbers is like 40,000 developers in.
It never ends.
It
never ends.
In the place where I stay, Bukit Jalil, right? In 1 month, there's like 8 new launches. So your property that you buy 5-10 years ago is not going to appreciate much. But has it gone up in price? Yes. Are people going to buy? A bit tough. Because when I buy new from developers, right, I don't have to pay upfront 10%, 18%. If I buy subsidy, I need to pay all that. And with newer ones, facilities, right? Why? So the game of flipping properties in Malaysia for the last decade, right, is not as encouraging. Unless you are in the commercial space, commercial, industrial, landed homes, then that's where people see the meat. But then for the ROI, it's not as fancy. Here, our condos in prime areas, you can get 6%, 5%.
So you will very certainly say Singaporeans should not invest here in terms of the property. They should buy a home.
Yes.
That's the base idea.
That's the base idea. And unless you are part of the clubs that I mentioned, there are strategies where in Malaysia, we can buy properties, then get cash back, man.
What app you use?
Yeah, so this is like something also very foreign. Like the rest of the world pays like 25% upfront for any property, right? It's a requirement. But in Malaysia, Malaysians are so spoiled now. They expect to pay nothing after I buy the property, right? And I still get cash back of 10%, 15%. And I still expect the property rent to cover the installment one. And are there such properties? Yes, because a lot of these deals are crafted. So it's not open market. These are all crafted behind doors.
Fair.
So the access to this kind of deals becomes the main differentiator.
Fair.
Like if you are coming in, I'm a normal person, right? Tough.
Okay.
Right. And why would you want to convert Sing dollar over?
Yeah, so the main thing is still 5% depreciation. This thing cannot solve, right? It's a very big hurdle. But I think getting a home, the mindset is very different. Yeah. If you are looking to invest, it's all about opportunity cost, right? Okay, I don't put here, I can put somewhere else, I can do something else. Right? So you hear it from him. Okay, but for a homeowner, I think
if you want to spend money, right? Welcome. It's so beautiful, right? Like your HDB price, right?
He say one, not I say one. Once I hear the 3 letter, I better must draw line. Yeah, you say what you want to say. Okay.
So for that, right, you can get 4 seasons here. I'm serious. Like if you are paying like a 600,000 apartment in Singapore, right, you are getting a 4 seasons experience here.
Yeah, it's true. That's why a lot of people are entertaining this idea.
Yeah,
more and more.
Because my brother is in Singapore and kind of know their life, right? And you come back, right? Why still live in a condo? Get an experience that you could never ever have, which is a landed house. That's why if I were to encourage people to buy landed, right, I would not buy high levels because you are paying a lot for staircase.
Okay, fair. Maybe you share with us a bit more about this landed thing. Apartment, all this, I think Singaporeans also very familiar. They come in, they know what to ask for. It's quite standard. It's quite standard, right? But then owning a landed,
it's very different.
Yeah, it's a very different game. You can paint us some color.
So just now we mentioned about individual title and we have strata title. So the now, especially in JB, right, gated communities are like 25% more premium than non-gated because of security reasons.
Yeah.
So in Malaysia again, we have all formats of individual title. The whole street or whole neighborhood is not covered or not guarded.
Yeah.
So they suddenly go at the wire, right? Then call it guarded.
I know. Then they hire a guard, sit on there, they
then
put
open
a
the door.
barricade. It's like, why got weird barricade here? Because the people here agree to do this together.
So that kind of solves temporarily, but due to land legislation, the road is still public road where it's maintained by the local, municipal and authorities.
Oh, okay.
Like your rubbish truck collector, your water utilities and all. They will still need to come and access, how much you used already. But if it's a stratified format, everything belongs to the community, which means like if the street lamp spoil, right,
managed by the community.
You need to pay maintenance for it. So truck collectors, right, they will have a dedicated one supervised by guards to go and collect rubbish.
But usually those neighborhood very atas one. The vibe is there, got swimming pool, everything.
Yeah, because it's in accordance to the same strata law, then you will need to have swimming pool. So suddenly in this format of living, you will have a lot of clubhouse and all. It's very atas, like I said, because the monthly maintenance. And Malaysians, right, who lives in individual title houses, we are very foreign to maintenance. We don't pay for shit. But now the new era of buyers, because options for landed is getting real less in KL. So like now the new buyers are all very familiar with the maintenance payment already. But stratified landed products, then you will need to pay maintenance. And then how much do you pay depends on how much land your property occupies. And the formats of it. So there are bungalows, there are semi-Ds, where the plot of land is divided into 2. So you will have cluster.
So it's jumbo within the whole...
So it depends on the initial formation of the township. So the architect will like, this one we put it atas a bit, all bungalows, semi-Ds here. This one is all the cheaper ones, the terrace houses. Then this one people cannot afford already, we just put townhouses. And a townhouse here means different things. Townhouse here means one unit on top of another.
So it's like terraces, but split into half.
Yeah, it's like a terrace, but you own downstairs, I own upstairs.
That goes up direct to my house. I own level 2. Like that.
So that's the townhouse format for us. Then we have cluster where a plot of land is divided into 4.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are very interesting typology things.
Yeah.
Because
Okay.
like you say landed, right? Oh, a lot of people thought it's like link houses only.
Okay. So then are there any cost differences other than the property price itself? Like when I transact, when I buy, is there a difference between like getting a condo and getting a landed? Like are there legislation difference, fees difference? It's the same. So it's all based upon the transaction value.
Yes.
Okay.
So
all
it's
is
like,
on a percentage.
Yeah. So it's like if it's higher than 1 million, then there's certain additional charges.
Certain threshold.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But now almost everything is above 1 million.
Yeah. Okay. And that one is specifically in KL, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As we move out, it's a different thing, right? Okay. So now we can move out, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So I think a lot of Singaporeans also care about the Johor property market, right? Because it's just next door, right?
Yeah.
To them, it's like, okay lah, just go in and stay there. Anything I come out, and all that jazz. So how is it different, like when you look at it between KL and Johor? Yeah.
I was in Sunway Iskandar, so which is the Medini side of things. So I was witnessing Singaporeans buying properties in a no man's land when the price is higher than KL city centre.
Oh my goodness.
Where there's nothing.
Yeah.
Really barren,
Sell
right?
dream on that one. Yeah.
So I think that was the mistake that a lot of Singaporeans made. Is like they do not think like a local.
Oh, there's a question I wanted to ask. Sunway is like a famous developer, right? And I'm not sure, is it important to follow like which developer particularly? Because there's the atas one, like the branded developers, right? They confirm charge a premium, right?
Yeah.
So as someone that's coming in to buy, is there a lot of difference if I buy from another brand that is not as famous, but not like shit, like not like first time developer?
Yeah.
That one is a different story. Like they got a track record, but they're not Sunway.
Yeah.
Do I need to place a difference to these guys, or how do I look at them?
If you can afford, I would encourage
Big brands.
if you are buying a home, especially because like these are the people that when you complain, right, they will respond. So we have like
Singaporeans love to complain, right? Yeah.
I was dealing with when I was handing over the properties that they bought, I was dealing with Singaporeans, so I know how meticulous you guys are.
Wow, that is a great word. Yes,
I
we
know.
take pride in being meticulous. Yes,
every whatever.
Don't go there. You will get cancelled. Okay, control. That's the end. Okay, yeah.
So if you want to go for brands to non-real estate people, then like it's people that you can respond to complaints, right? Then when I say something, then they will come back. Because they are a different format of developers that I mentioned, just the boutique ones. And in Malaysia, there's like developers that can build 3,000, 5,000 acres. Right? And it's very common. Like township developers, right? We every day hear, new township.
Tropicana, those few guys, it's just the whole thing one. They block the whole thing, suddenly it happened already.
Yeah. So they are also this type called pocket land developer. They buy 2 acres, they build something, they chow. And they chow, it can be chow in terms of responsibility also. Sold out already, whatever lah. You want to complain, you all manage yourself later lah. So those then, like in terms of numbers, it's actually cheaper when you buy. So it's better for investment. But if you're buying a home, I would not encourage because you are not here to save money.
Okay.
Right, you are here to buy experience.
That's the target group, I know. Yes. The ones that are being served YouTube ads. That's the target group.
Then when you come to JB, right, the locals then are buying double-story houses.
Yeah.
Right, and because these folks also make Sing dollar one, that's why the double-story houses there are very expensive, 700,000-800,000. But does it make sense for Singaporeans to then buy a 700,000 high-rise versus a landed? To me, anytime go for what the locals are going for, then your investment will be safe because
you can exit through them.
Yes.
They will want to pick it up from you.
Yeah. So I think the common mistake that a lot of initial buyers then is they do not think like a local lah. They think everything is cheap because they divide by 3. That was a very common thing. But now I think this message is getting out a lot. So now people are making better decisions. So if I were to have a limitation of 1 million ringgit, I will buy a 1 million ringgit stratified landed property than a condo. Because anytime there will be a local tycoon that buys yours at 1.2.
They're willing to take it over. Okay, fair. That's a good point. What about Genting? Recently there's a lot of ads, right? I asked myself, why the hell would I want to stay here?
Yeah.
Right? So I'm living on the isolated,
So it depends on the visa that you're in. Because I think another concern for Singaporeans who want to live here is the visa. And it's very surprising for me to know that Malaysian visa is very hard to apply. Like MM2H, they just revised it. Last time it was old folks home.
Easier, yeah. It's a golden visa lah.
So Penang was filled with people with the old visa, right? Then now they want to encourage high income earners to come. Like, I don't know why would they come, but it's fine. And like 40,000 ringgit per month income. Like, people are here to retire, then you expect them to have that income. Like, wow, different class really. And that becomes a main hurdle for a lot of Singaporeans to come. But if you go to a lot of locations where they don't need that much requirement for visa, right, it will be way friendlier lah. Unfortunately, that's why like even if you want to buy like Ipoh or Penang, right, JB is still geographically more sensible to you all in Singaporeans lah.
So okay, MM2H you can take. I think the Sarawak one is easier.
10,000.
Yeah,
10,000.
It's easier than the other. That's the only outlier.
But then
you must stay there once a year. Must stay like what 30 days or how many?
But it's amazing there also. It's beautiful also.
You can go climb mountain, do all the things.
So in Malaysia you got mountain, river, sea at the same state one. That's why what you highlight is very true. Like Malaysia is so big, right?
Yeah.
Every geography will have different
vast,
dynamics. So the same amount of money, like again 500,000, you can get a shoebox in city center, but you can get a nice, wonderful home outskirt.
Okay, fair.
But as a Singaporean, like you don't have this choice, unfortunately.
Of course.
Unless you have a Malaysian wife.
Oh, that one different story. You buy under the wife, right?
Then you are PRs. There are loopholes around it.
Oh, what loophole? Share.
No, that one you need to subscribe to my channel. Then you DM me.
Okay.
I don't want to get your show cancelled. I need to protect your interest.
Yes.
So,
Part 2.
So these are things that that's why I need to be in Singapore for events physically, because like if this is out publicly, then it becomes.
I know. Loopholes are meant to be closed, right? The government will close it. Yes.
So there's this difference in formats. And I think another main difference, right, when I see property investors want to be, from a Singaporean standpoint, right, you guys are very retail in property investment, because like a lot of times like, the master bedroom must be you staying inside, or it must be locked, right? Then you control everything. That's why you have very weird aunties, right, telling you, hey, you are showering too long, you use water too much, right? That's kind of thing very common among my Malaysian friends who works there, right? But in Malaysia, then it's pretty normal. Like we get people with 4 properties, 5 properties, and I don't even know where my unit is one. I don't have the keys with me. I'll just pass to people who manage it. So the format of investment is also very, very different. That's why like companies of property management and renovators, like the makeover guys, right, they are specialized with property investment format owners. I buy, right, I haven't seen my unit before. For my past 6 tenants, I don't even meet them. But as a Singaporean, right, everything needs to be like, myself. That's why it became a big hurdle, especially when you want to invest. So when you think about, like just now you mentioned Genting, right, if you buy a unit there, right,
so it's for Airbnb only, huh? That's the top process, to rival with the Highlands.
Yes, and the hotels there are very healthy in returns. But what COVID taught us is Airbnb smack every operators right in the face. So like student accommodations, Airbnb, they will be this profile of high risk. So just now when I mentioned their long-term target audience for tenants, short-term, then we have Airbnb ones, then we have by bed.
I know. One have the the chop one.
Yes. By rooms, right? There are different formats. Then Airbnb ones are the higher risk one, because now Penang demonstrated this very weird move. I want to protect the interests of hotels, so no more Airbnbs for residential properties. Suddenly, if you buy a residential properties, so no one will come and rent already. And this is like overnight. So like the partition law came also in KL. Suddenly, all investors like,
yeah, I know. That's why I know, because there was so much viewership of that thing. That it entered my For You page. I was like, wow, all these Malaysians ranting about property law, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like,
I call the government very cute. So they try to, got smoke, must be fire. But they don't see what's burning.
Okay. That one you say one.
That one I say.
No,
I'm
I
a
say
Malaysian,
one.
I can say.
You can say yes. If not, later my face will appear at the custom. Like, what are these guys saying? Yeah, okay. Fair. So I think we covered most of it. But one question I think someone has, right, which is a bit more JB specific, is are most of JB properties vacant? I think he was referencing the videos during COVID, right? Yeah. So like maybe if you know a little bit more about the JB property landscape, just kind of walk us through a little bit.
I was around before the China developers came. So there was a moment of time when Medini was this new planning where it was a free zone, and it was a participation between federal government and state government trying to make it work. And it was fabulous at first. That's why you see all the EduCity was there. There's like 6 to 8 universities. There's Legoland there. there. There's Pinewood Studios there. So it was meant to succeed. Look at brands like Marlboro schools, international schools, all there. And it was doing really well until the China developer starts coming in. And they came in with a bang. So at that current time, right, we were very conservative with our launch as developers, like 500 units, wow, pushing it really at one go, right? Then you get China developers coming in with 3,000 units per launch.
Yeah.
And one company A come in, company B comes in.
Another 3,000.
So if they do 3,000, we do 5. Then got one, oh, they're doing 5. Let's build an island. Yeah. And as a person who hangs out around the land office like almost every day, hey, got one piece of land got acquired. Then we look at the map. Where? So they bought C. So part of that C, then they reclaimed. Then they became the city that they are, right? And because of that, right, it was a promotion back then also. Like if you buy one properties in China from them, you
Free
get one here.
Yes.
So that was a big thing lah. That shows how cheap our property is in Malaysia. How much value for money. And
or the converse can be how expensive the property is there. Right? Which is true, right? Maybe until recently got shit happen.
So because of that, then suddenly the local demands can never keep up. I don't think they will. Like locals will still be nicely in Kota Masai, nicely in the Setia Tropicas, in the right?
The Austin area, inside.
300,000, a very nice double-story house. Why Xiao go and buy a 1 million apartment, right? These were meant for foreigners and they were meant for Singaporeans. So it's like Shenzhen, it's like Shenzhen. And
no, but Singaporeans don't want to shift in another condo.
Yeah.
Right? Even think about buying a house in Malaysia, they want a house, right? A lot of people want to do that.
The herd effect kicked in. When you see like you based on all the initial apartments that were launched, all did really well.
I mean in terms of returns lah.
No, in terms of sales. All sold out. So the only agent, like I was part of the development team, we were rushed to just launch things. Just launch. People are buying. So China people buying, everyone was buying until now when COVID hits, access stopped, right? Suddenly you see, hey, who is staying? So that's where reality hits lah. But landed properties like in the EduCity part of it is still wonderful. But this is also when we see like when the tide goes away, right? You see who is wearing pants.
Yeah. I get it.
Then that's where like the demonstration of property developers then. Like if you go back to Sunway, now they rebrand Sunway City Iskandar Putri because Medini also like there's a stigma to it already. Even Jurong East Mall forbids projects from advertising there or doing roadshow there.
Oh, okay.
Johor properties shall promote there. That's why like all developers all call me like I can do anything. I'm just a YouTuber. So
they gets discount. Just say.
So when that happened, right, suddenly you see some townships still excel, still deliver, but some just gave up. So you see in Iskandar Putri now that is around 8 to 10,000 acres, right? There's one portion that's doing really, really well. Then there are some that's not. So it's very different from Singapore where almost 90 or more than 90% is all government.
Yeah.
Here more than 95% is all private.
Yeah.
And the government segment one is please private sector, please build for us. Kind of thing. Our market is heavily reliant on private developers to build.
So I think one thing a lot of Singaporeans are thinking of they are, it's like, can I keep my HDB and still like own property in Malaysia, right?
Yep.
So like what is your take on that?
My take, if I'm the government, is no.
No, you're not the government.
Okay, so if not the government,
are
right?
People doing it?
Officially, no. Okay, so the amount of investment friends I have, most of them, they we go EC and private because I was with a gang of friends to go UK. Then suddenly, like when I was hanging out with this bunch of Singaporeans, right, where everybody has the same amount of properties with me. I thought your HDB can have one only, right? Then suddenly all is like, whoa, multi-property owners. Then like, oh, they should we go private. And some of them even have not bought any HDB before. And their excuse was, once you touch an HDB, meaning you are in the welfare format.
Wow.
Meaning like you are under the welfare of the government, so you shouldn't be doing any form of investment or income generating thing using properties.
Wow.
But I think it's fair lah because like the government spends so much money to provide all you this infrastructure. But the blur line now where your website keeps changing, right? Not your, but their website keeps changing. The MOP also changed. Now you have the new one, the Prime and the Plus, right? Wow, things just get very technical. Then the MOP, there's no clear clause saying that after MOP, can you own or not? Because that would be a perfect exit strategy, which means after the MOP already, you move to Malaysia, right? You can rent a house here, then you rent out your HDB in Sing dollar, everything times 4, maybe 3.8 over, oof. Let's say of 3,000 Sing, right? Here is like a 12,000.
Yeah.
You can live wonderful in JB. That's a strategy.
No, and I think that's what a lot of people are entertaining. That's why I'm even asking you the question, you know?
So that's a very clear strategy.
But that one is a rental, right? I mean, it's not owning a house here,
so
right?
this is for sure can. But if you want to own a property in Malaysia, then that's the weird part. So technically, even if you buy, right, how would they know?
You know what's going to happen? Your face going to be at the custom now. It's not my face anymore. It's like,
just change hairstyle, people can recognize me.
It's like, okay. Maybe in closing, one last thing for our fellow Singaporeans, right, that are considering getting a home here. Like, what are some misconceptions that they have when they come into Malaysia that they need to like kind of like, wake up? Other than, buy like the local so that you can exit, all those things. Any last few things you want to add?
Okay, screw it. Okay, I don't care whether it's offensive or not, but
you're very, very offensive, eh? That's your prerogative.
If you are their target audience, right, in your turf, those are properties that Malaysians don't want to buy.
You heard that. That means all the roadshow there is to exit the property that Malaysians don't want to buy.
True, right? Because in like local, like for my own consumption, like I'm buying very heavily, like very active buying, right? Almost aggressive level. I'm still fighting for units to buy. Like units, right, before launch. Hey, Tan Sri, please let me get one. They like you by letting you buy their project. So that's the level of interest and access that we need. But then for properties that is like leftover, really like very long, really overpriced, like mad. Oh, maybe the Singaporeans will come and my tan.
I know. Yeah, like the shopping center.
Yeah.
Still promo downstairs. I was like, I thought you sell so many years already.
Yeah, still promo.
Cannot sell finish, got fine some more, right? So must faster sell finish.
Because Malaysia got no fine. So it's still okay. But I think that's a general rule of thumb for someone. Whatever roadshow that comes to your convenience, right? Something must be wrong.
Then the City Square area, that one considered convenient?
But City Square, right? You all go and buy all our pharmaceutical items, man.
Yeah, that's why. That's a different story. Okay, that's a different story.
Yeah,
but that one considered convenient.
But I think that is not for Singaporeans.
Okay, so that's for the Malaysians that are coming in and out. Okay,
but now, because of the high interest rate and rent, right? Another thing is don't expect our government to behave like yours. So I think that's this. Your government should do this. I don't know, man. I also know. But this is a very common...
I'm not from that group. Just saying, I understand. I've traveled, I've lived in many countries. So I know. Yeah.
So there's this like, wow, you're like, everybody can be government like that. But like whatever you're gone through for the past election, it's common for us. We've been through this uncertainty for the past 10 years, I think. Our history books just got updated like mad. Our prime minister, right, for the past 20 years, like 4. Then suddenly in this 10 years got 4.
The picture keep changing,
The portrait business not bad. So, and that's the beautiful part of Malaysia. And because of this information gap and knowledge gap, right, there's a lot of opportunities. But over there, everyone is equipped with equal amount of information.
Yes, and the information is very organized.
Yeah.
A lot of websites.
The only reason why you cannot make it there is lazy.
Yes. Woo, thank you for your time. Right.
Thanks for coming over.
Appreciate it. Yeah. So it's a nice place. Any if people want to look for you, where can they look for you? How to shout out?
iHerng. Just Google that, you will see almost every platform of your preference. YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Everywhere, basically everywhere.
Nice. Yeah. Hope you had fun. And
cool.
If there's part 2, I will look for you again. We'll bring the
Malaysia welcomes you.
Yeah. Truly Asia, right? Truly Asia. Yeah. So the first question is, what has been your best and worst investment you've ever made?
Best is a gym membership.
Oh, so cheesy.
No, because I
asked the property guy hoping to get a property thing. Yeah.
Because I think the worst one is a property.
Oh, okay. Come.
So I think if we go to the worst one first, so it makes sense, right? The worst one is when I got a luxury segment property in JB, and it was way beyond my affordability, and I know how to do it, and I qualified for the loan. But just that within the loan tenure, I messed it up. Then when I get the keys to the unit, I could not pay the money installment. And at that time, I have multiple properties, so I had, like people say, I got 3 leads for 4 pots or 5 pots cooking. So every month you should miss 1 or 2. And to that extent, I was so broke, right, that I need to donate blood just for free food. Because every 28, my income comes in the bank. 29 is empty, just to pay off whatever I can. So because of that, suddenly you are in this immense stress lah. But in Malaysia, okay one, give chance one. Call, hey Sean, you didn't pay your. I know Guard City. I know. I'll try. I'll pay 500 first. Okay, 500 first. Then this was the moment where I know, hey, property not for sure make money one. And in Singapore, they wow, HDB sure make money one ma. Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
He say one, yeah. HDB is trying to change their narrative by the way. Yes. And I'm aligned with HDB. You can sponsor me. Okay, yes, that's a different discussion.
Yeah, but in Malaysia, it's very quite bully people one.
Okay.
If you don't know how to play the game. Then because of that, I got real bad in health management because I was just striving very hard every day to make ends meet, doing freelancing left, right, center, right, and not sleeping for very, very long. Then I was a very bad. And because of that, until I get enough after the first 2 years where my income got in par with my debt, then like, oh, okay, finally now I can breathe a bit. That's when only I get into gym membership. And since then, what I learned is discipline that matters lah. So from there, then I lost 15 kgs for the past 2 years. Because of that, then the mental strength to cope with all stress became really good. A lot of people thought I would say,
yeah, I thought you were like, my best property is this.
But it's the other way.
Okay, fair. That's great. Okay, second question is, what is one thing under $100 that's been a game changer for you?
YouTube Premium.
Yeah, no more fake guru ads, just say. Last one. Well, one place you learn that you think is underrated. It can be a book, a particular one, or like a website, or like where do you read, or where do you learn a podcast or something.
Okay. I'm very sad, right? But the channel has not experienced any viral moments before.
It's okay, slow and steady. It's not a small channel, right? So one inspiring quote from somebody that you've spoke to recently.
You won't get people doing better than you laughing at you. So this was when a moment of time like now, there are a lot of haters in the industry because I'm apparently spoiling a lot of people's business lah. Because I'm putting in a lot of information to the system. Suddenly all buyers get informed. Then no more this hanky-panky shit, right? This tactic shit, right? Or suddenly they, hey, you are messing with my business rate, and then they get a lot of these lawyer letters or this track. But then like it's all hate. Then from this quote of this senior within the industry is like, hey, you won't get hate from people who are doing better than you lah. So you're fine. That's why when I run this, I also run a podcast, right? This is where I speak to icons of the industry, like from feng shui to investment to developer. Really, legit.
I control.
Then like ID, then architects and all. Yeah, so there's a wide industry of real estate.
Nice.
Not only just investment.
Nice.
Because Malaysian, we can really dream about being a developer. Not me, but
yeah, we can talk about this offline. Okay,
yeah, okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Nice.